This snowblower has been running for quite a while. Now at this point you may think to flip the switch to off and you're all set, right? Well, in my experience, there's a better way. Let me show you. Most snowblowers will have an on-off switch of sorts, but many also have a fuel shutoff valve. Some may look like this. This is going to directly close off the fuel line from receiving any more fuel from the gas tank. So let's go ahead and turn that fuel valve off. The fuel is completely shut off to the engine. Now you might be thinking, JB, the engine's still running. Give it a minute. I usually like to use this time to dust off the blower before I bring it back into the garage. About 30 seconds later, you're now starting to hear the machine starving for fuel. Don't worry, you're not hurting anything here. And off she goes. Now let's talk about what's going on here and why this is actually a good thing to do for your snowblower. But before we do that, hey guys and gals, welcome to Garage Gear. I'm JB, giving you the best tips and tricks to survive life in and out of the garage. And if you're feeling the vibe and you want to be part of the tribe, subscribe. When you shut off your fuel line, gas stops flowing from your gas tank down to your carburetor. Your carburetor is then forced to use any remaining fuel inside, draining the carburetor bowl completely dry, leaving little to no fuel inside, definitely not enough to keep your engine going. The big reason for doing this keeps your carburetor jets from getting gummed up from bad gas that may have been sitting in there for an extended period of time. And if you've been following this channel for some time now, you've probably seen some carburetors that I've done some tune-ups on that have been pretty plugged up from bad gas. Gross! Now, I have preached using ethanol-free gas many times on this channel. Ethanol-free gas contains no ethanol. Ethanol is in most gas that you find at the pump. And by nature, it attracts water and can cause damage to your engine and its components. If you search ethanol-free near me on Google, you can usually find ethanol-free gas in your local area. But just because it's ethanol-free doesn't mean that it lasts forever. Even though I run ethanol-free all the time in all my machines, I still use the fuel shutoff valve to keep my carbs clean. I take no chances. I do have a preferred time of the season that I like to use the fuel shutoff valve. I'll explain that in just a moment. Now, if you don't have ethanol-free gas near you and you're forced to use gas with some level of ethanol in it, then shutting off the fuel line is a must for you. Minimize the time that gas lingers around in the carburetor. Keep that carb clean, clear, and under control. That sounded like a Clearasil ad. Now, let's say it only snows a couple of times during the season where you live. In that case, if you only use your snowblower a couple of times, using this method is to your advantage. Unlike weekly lawn mowing that you can pretty much plan into your weekly routine, snowstorms are harder to predict and less consistent. This means you may go weeks or even months without firing up your snowblower depending on where you live to use up the remaining gas in that tank. Shut the fuel off and keep those jets free of any drama. And help this video avoid any drama with the YouTube algorithm, would you mind taking a super quick second to hit that like button down below? Thank you, I greatly appreciate it. Here in Buffalo, we know snow. We just had a blizzard roll through. And lake effect snow bands are all too common around here. Here, it snows often every winter, and I can pretty much plan on using my snowblower from December through February. During this time, I'll admit, I use my regular on-off switch because I use my machine so often. Sometimes even 2-3 times a day. But from February to April, we never really know when the season's officially over. So you better believe it, I'm using my fuel shutoff valve during that time. What I like to do is run the engine completely out of gas. That way the tank can sit completely dry during the long summer months. I've never liked using fuel stabilizers. I did that once before and the machine never ran right the rest of that season. In my experience, a drained gas tank will start right up with no issues as soon as you go to fire it up the following winter. If you're having fuel problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but startups ain't one. If you're interested in learning how to store a snowblower properly for the summer months, I'll have a video linked down below in the description on that. Before you tuck the machine away, I found that it's always a great idea to shut the fuel line off even if the gas tank has been emptied. You may not have caught every last drop of gas, and locking the fuel line tight can save you a headache. Lastly, if you have a fuel shutoff valve on your engine, that can make carburetor work or carburetor cleaning a lot easier. Simply shut the fuel line off, that way you don't have a mess of fuel coming out. Installing one is as simple as slicing the fuel line before the carburetor, inserting the fuel shutoff valve with a clamp on each end, tighten them down, and you're good to go. Plus, they're really inexpensive, and I'll have some linked down below for you. For more cool garage gear content, click or tap the screen right here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the garage.